Can archaeologists tell your birth sex from digging up your bones? Hey everybody, I'm Ari Drennan. I'm a journalist and a trans woman, and today we're talking about whether archaeologists 200 years in the future will someday dig up my bones and decide that I was a man the whole time. While scientists are often able to determine the birth sex of a person from their bones, it's far from an exact science. Ancient skeletons are often incomplete, and just looking at the two bones that differ most between people assigned male at birth and people assigned female at birth only yields the birth sex of that person 70% of the time. Scientists who are able to find both bones have a pretty good track record, but they sometimes find strange things. They might also record a skeleton as indeterminate, as scientists started doing in the 1970s, after one researcher noticed that 12% more skeletons were being labeled male than female. And because of this imprecision, scientists take into account the manner in which a skeleton was buried in order to draw conclusions about how gender worked in the society that that person once lived in. A person in the future studying this time period would probably know that trans people lived openly, at least in some parts of the world. Trans women actually have lower bone mass on average than cisgender men, even before starting hormone therapies. And scientists would be much more easily able to identify the skull of somebody who had had facial feminization surgery. They wouldn't look at that information and say, oh, that person was really a man, because that wouldn't really tell them much about how that person lived their life. And archaeologists tend to be sophisticated researchers with questions more complicated than, was this a boy or a girl? But even if they weren't, if someone is allowed to medically transition before the start of puberty, their skeleton will develop in a way that is consistent with their lived gender, which is exactly the type of thing that the people yammering about digging up the skeletons want to stop. They don't want trans people living unremarkable lives as ourselves. They want us humiliated for centuries after we're gone, and it's up to us to stop that. Thanks everybody. If you like this video, please follow me and subscribe to my Substack for more.
Good morning, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Live from the Hive. Yes, I'm dressed as a tennis player today. It is part of my outfit for a murder mystery. I'm wearing the full thing, got the skirt and everything. I'm all tennised out, and this is the most gender euphoric that I've ever been in a dress. So, whoa. The tennis dresses are my thing now, I think, because I just love it. I love the way it fits on me. I love the way it sits on me. Love the way it feels on me. So, good morning, my beauties and bees. Yeah, I'm in costume this morning. Just wanted to make sure that everything works out. Am I the thick bee? I'm a little thick, right around here. I am excited to do today's show, but it's kind of a weird one because shrimps as bugs came up in my feed, and I got to play with people yesterday about the nature of phylogeny. I'm going to play with you guys later on, so don't go anywhere because that's going to be after CryptoCorner, which is going to be a good one too. So stick around for that. But yeah, that's what I'm doing tonight. Got a murder mystery. I'm supposed to be a retired injured tennis player. So obviously I'm going to have like a lamp. Maybe that's going to be some of the evidence. Maybe I'm the killer. I don't know, but we'll find out when I get there. There'll be pictures and stuff on my various social medias if you follow me out there. Let me say good morning to some people because I see some beautiful friends out here. We had Dave and Spooky and Dee and Ring. Scott Duke's here this morning. We don't get to see much of Scott Duke in the mornings usually, so I'm glad to see you, Scott. And we have Lena, who was just totally thrilled with Ari's argument, it looks like. So thank you. Yeah, Ari's great. And the archaeologist of the bone thing, it's just a silly argument because if they're an archaeologist studying human culture, they're going to be able to differentiate cis women and trans men, cis women and trans men, and cis men and trans women. They're going to be able to differentiate those culturally, if not physiologically. There's going to be signs, especially if someone's gone through some sort of medical procedures or treatments or hormone replacement or anything like that, because all that's going to affect different aspects of your bone composition and how dense your bones are and such. But the idea that an archaeologist wouldn't understand human culture enough to know that, hey, this is a person who obviously went through a male puberty because their hip bones are shaped this way or whatever. So this person, but they're wearing, this kind of, or they're buried with this kind of stuff. They're wearing this sort of burial garb. They're, maybe even they can, tell that they had, breast implants or something, or just, from the strain on the rib cage and such. There's lots of ways that forensic science can be used to determine if someone's trans or not. It's not going to be like, oh, it's just a man. It's just a woman, even though it's a trans person. They're not going to do that. That's just not how archaeologists work today. That's not how they've ever worked. That's how we know ancient cultures had a myriad of genders too, because of the stuff they've left behind. A lot of these cultures aren't around anymore, but we know things enough about them to know that they had different genders in their societies and such. So it's like, get over it. It's part of our natural human state as a species for us to include a certain percentage of gender non-conforming people, of homosexuals. There's lots of different little demographics that have always been with us throughout history. Anyway, let me continue saying good morning. Good morning, Stephanie. Good to see ya. How to rule an asteroid. Hello, it's good to see you here. We got Ember and Star Song. Yay, everybody's here. All right. Yeah, almost getting up to that 20 people. I like to, that's actually, y'all wonder what I do my preamble for. I usually do I used to do it, try to do my preamble until I got about 15 people in here, because that's when the show really starts, about 10 to 15 minutes in. That's when all your viewers, your solid, stable set of viewers show up. It used to be 15. It's moved up to about 18 stable viewers, and I get a lot more than that. So I'm really happy with the way things are going with the live streams. I know I'm not like popping off on the algorithm or anything, probably because my content is so all over the place, which is funny because it really is consistently skeptic content. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. All I am is I skeptically look at different things and decide whether I believe them or not. That's my channel's thing. We use the scientific method to skeptically look over things. That started out with bugs and bug myths and things like that, but now it's expanded out, and here we are. So that's my channel. So I don't know why the YouTube algorithm, if you don't know where to put me, just put me in a skeptic feed. That's fine. People will watch my stuff in a skeptic feed. Just weird stuff coming up. And we've got weird stuff coming up today, you will see, and a variety of weird things too. And we're going to learn science, and we're going to learn phylogeny, and we're going to learn about idiomotor movements and things like that. It's going to be good stuff. We're going to learn a little bit about engineering, but not much, because I'm not any sort of engineer, but I know a little bit about how the stuff some of the stuff that's done in our CryptoCorner episode today. Now, I do want to give a big shout out to Ember. Yeah, purple visor for I'm a tennis. Look, I'm a tennis player. See, Ember? What? I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. Can't you tell? But John, it's good to see you anyway. Uncle Charles. Uncle Charlie, sorry. Uncle Charlie, not Uncle Charles. I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. Bugs are a subset of insects. Shrimps are not insects from a scientific standpoint. We'll talk about that later on the show. Don't go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. Phylogeny is my bag, and we're going to talk about how that works and how we would differentiate the clade of insects. Yeah, I know. I'm like digging how I look in this. I keep standing up to show you how cute my little dress is. We'll get into it though. Yeah, don't you worry. But it's going to be after Cryptic Corner, so about usually Cryptic Corner is usually about an hour. But we'll go ahead and get it started now. This Cryptic Corner might actually be shorter because it's a bunch of shorts. I have 25 videos lined up actually, so we're gonna munch through it. So I will see you guys over in Cryptic Corner. Hello, hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another episode of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I am your host, Miss Bumblebee, and today we are taking a look deep into the closets and back attics, the abandoned buildings and forgotten playhouses. It's a weird collection of artifacts that got left behind, but something got left behind with them, allegedly. And we're going to find out what that's all about, because today we are looking at dolls caught moving on video. All right, here we go. So let's take a closer look at this doll. This is Mr. Fritz. Mr. Fritz is the head of a ventriloquist dummy from World War II era. It's all those remains of him as his head and some of his pulley strings and such. And he supposedly moves at night. So the owner kept coming in and finding the door hanging open, I guess. So he set up a camera to find out why. This is the story. And this was in 2019, as you can see from the timestamp below. Yeah. And let me see. I got more stats on Mr. Fritz. I know I had something up here. Let's see. Mr. Fritz. Mr. Fritz is a World War II era ventriloquist doll that appears to move on its own. In 2019, Michael Diamond, a collector from Liverpool, filmed the footage of Fritz moving its mouth and blinking in its glass box. The footage also shows the cabinet door opening on its own. Diamond has said he has no explanation for why a 1940s dummy appears to move on its own. So, um, these types of collectibles, right? They'll earn you a little bit of notoriety, and you can get some interviews with spook groups and things like that. Paranormal investigators want to come and look at it and pay you big money to come and examine it. So, having a video like this is lucrative. But let's see what we got here. Enough preamble for our first video for the day. Enough preamble. Let's go. Some eye movement there. The door opens. Eye movement. Door opens. Eyes closed. Mouth moves. Now, absolutely horrifying, I agree. The strings and stuff, the mechanics down below, do you see them moving? And there's the door some more. Now the door, so I've debunked my share, not debunked, I guess. I've covered my share of, 1 second. 1 second. Hungry boy. So, there's a few things that we need to know about this and look at the structure of this, okay? So, the main thing we're probably dealing with here is pull strings. The cabinet door is an easy one. You'll see people do whole entire rooms full of cabinet doors opening all at once, right? It's in synchronicity. And you'll even see people do entire cabinet doors opening all at once and then spilling all the dishes and plates out all together at once. People will do that with just the pull string method alone. And it takes a lot of off screen. There's a lot of stuff going on, but in the frame, there's nothing going on but a normal room, right? All you gotta do is keep what's in frame normal, and you can have pulley strings everywhere. And using this type of lighting, where you're not going to have reflections off the strings, where you're not going to have shadows from the strings moving, is key, right? And using the right direction of light. But pulling the cabinet door opens an easy one. Now, what's going on inside the base of this stand and underneath this stand, we don't know. There could easily be strings that go down through the neck and out underneath, or even into this drawer. There may even be, at this point, when you're talking about this drawer and things underneath, there may even be mechanics in this drawer underneath that are completely in control of this without the person having to do anything. Or maybe they got a remote, because you could hook that up to like a RCA remote, like taking the electronics out of a remote control car, right? The little engines, little motors, and the fulcrums, and you can make things go up and down with those by just gluing the line onto the like you lay it upside down, and you have the axle, and then you can go reverse and forward, and it'll make the things go up and down. That's how a lot of these poltergeist videos are done. It really is a fun hobby. I've seen a lot of really cool and really effective stuff done by different groups. You can always see when it's somebody doing it with a shoestring budget and the heart of a stage magician, compared to someone who's doing it with a budget or someone who's doing it for a grift. But let's watch it again. We're gonna watch this one more time. It's only 52 seconds. Eyes open. That's pulleys down here. Door opens. Pulley off string. Has anybody out there ever used a ventriloquist dummy before? They have like finger loops and stuff inside of them that you can really get into, right? With as far as how you make it look, how you make it turn its head and stuff. It's most, at least the eyes and the mouth is what you have inside there that you're controlling, right? But there can be much more. There's other facial expressions. Eyebrows are another popular one that some of these guys will have, but some of them have the eyebrows controlled into the eyes. That's a on a shoestring budget, right, or a fishing line budget, as the case may be. It's like 3:30 in the morning. All right. So that was Mr. Fritz. Actually, you know what? Let me show you guys what Mr. Fritz looks like in color, because you really get a better idea of this guy. And yeah, look at this. This is his website. And yeah, he's like, oh, I don't know how. Yeah, this is very lucrative. Just saying. But you got these are all the pulley lines and the finger links. They're basically little rings you put your fingers in. Let's see. And yeah, can things go down through there? They sure can. There's the video again. And look, there's even 2 holes drilled there. What are those holes for, I wonder? Maybe that's just the mounting holes. I don't know. 1943 to 1945. Stalingrad. All right. Well, Mr. Fritz, there you go. More horrifying in color. Yeah, I think so too. I think the red, how red he is, really gives it a bit of a meaty kind of look that's more disturbing, especially around the fleshy pink around the gums, and then the pink, and then the rouge and the eyeshadow. Yeah, Mr. Fritz, though. There you go. All right, no, not that yet. So next on the list, let's see, we got evil puppet who attempted to kill the previous owner. This one's also about a minute long. So and I tried to source all of these as best I could, but some of them, yeah, this one's kind of vague about the truth about it. The story behind the evil puppet who attempted to kill previous owner moves on its own. I don't know how much I believe that. I'll tell you right now, but okay. Watch it again. Let me see here. Let me read some comments too here, because I don't want to move on from Fritz. If you all had more more questions and stuff about Fritz. Haunted dolls are a dime a dozen. Yeah, well, quality haunted doll videos are rarer still. Oh my gosh, Regios, you rock. You are the awesomest. Thank you so much. Love from the Hive. Love from the Hive for Regios. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh, ooh. Thank you for helping me out, sweetie. I really appreciate that. I've ordered a couple of haunted dolls on eBay and picked one up from a flea market. None ever did anything for me. Yeah, we did actually do an episode, it's been a couple of years ago, where I went haunted doll shopping on eBay and we looked at some of the listings and stuff. There's some crazy things on eBay. And we did another one recently where it wasn't just dolls, where we looked at cursed and haunted objects. Like we had some cursed swords and some stone heads and crystal skulls, and there's all sorts of wild things that people will try to sell you in the occult section of eBay. You can even buy like spells, like people will do a spell for you for money. What am I going to do with all these gift memberships? Oh my gosh. Amazing people out there. Thank you so much. All right. So on this one, there's a lot of things that could be happening. It's the lighting's very good for pull string stuff. It's not moving like pull string stuff, but like regular pull string stuff. It could be something on a balance on a pulley though, where it leans. But when it hits the wall, I almost want to think that there's something in there that's battery powered, but it's not. But it is very organic. It's almost like there's a person in there, or someone sticking their hand through a hole doing it. It's moving very organic. So on this one, I'm gonna go with someone behind a wall or through a port of some kind moving that object. So it's very, very organic. Okay. All right. Now this one's one of the ones that you blink and you'll miss it. 48 seconds. But I enjoy the aesthetic of the haunted doll music. There's Beetlejuice. Is it 48 seconds? You can see where it peaks at right here. On the thing. That's where it is. Give it a tour of their doll room. To the upper right here. Right there, watch your arm. Not hers, hers, right there. Yeah, you see it? Oh. Now, this I think is totally innocent. I think she had her arm up, and the person with the camera bumped something or shook or made enough vibration that the plastic that was held together by just a friction stuck together by the friction, but broke loose and it just slid down. Yeah, it's like someone stomps through the house and now suddenly a picture falls off the wall. That doesn't mean there's a ghost, right? Well, let's watch it a couple more times just to get a good idea. Okay, so not this girl right here, but the one that's next to her. Zooms on this girl's face, and you go past her, and then there's the little ball one. Yeah. Or it may have even been... It may have even been stuck on this cloth right here, and she brushed that when she passed, knocking it loose, and the arm came down. There's a few things that could be happening here. But this one, I honestly think is probably, at least originally, was innocent. Maybe it was staged, but it's pretty lackluster for something that was staged. I think it's happenstance. What do you guys think? Let me know. I'll cast a spell for you for free. Guarantee my spell will be just as effective as the one you pay for. Absolutely, Robert. Yep. Morning back. Morning, Al. Good to see everybody. The boy doll in the suspenders flipped us the bird. Now, if I had lifted the arm, then would have been... Now, if it had lifted the arm, then it would have... Yeah, that's the thing. It's gravity. is taking place here. Yeah, but it lifted the arm. It would have been a lot more convincing. I live not too far from Bonnybrook. It's a house filled to the top with creepy dolls. That's neat. There's an island that's covered with creepy dolls too. We talked about that in the same episode. We went doll shopping. I should probably link that. I don't like to link videos from me before my transition, just on principle. I'd rather just redo them as Bree. So, but it is what it is. Okay. Actually, AFK, phone not waterproof, LOL. Okay. And they're off to see the haunted doll, baby Jesus. Seems convenient for it to happen when they are zoomed in so we can really see the arm move. Yeah, I'm not saying it's necessarily innocent. It could have been staged. It's just not a very good one if it's staged. There's ones on this list that were obviously done by teens that are better than this, or more convincing than this. All right, let's move right along. The music's a nice touch though, right? I like that music. Alright. Just that they go on with their tour like it was nothing, not a problem. Like when it happened, they knew it was. Alright. This one's interesting too. And again, this has to be staged. I can't think of anything else that it could be. But let's give it a chance here. How far into it do we need to go? It's supposed to be really subtle. Watch this arm right here. But then the head's gonna turn that way. Okay, so there went the glue stick. So stuff's happening. Why is this clock on the chair though? That's weird. Guess to show what time it is, that it's 3 a.m. All the haunted dolls, I guess they only do 3 a.m. visits. Who knew? Alright, the arms move. Now, if you watched from here, the arm's back behind her. It's very subtle. See it? There it goes. There it goes. So, and the thing is, they could have easily done this with a 2-cushion system. But this looks like one chair, so if they're doing it with a port in the back, they would have to cut a hole in the... I mean, not to say that they couldn't have cut a hole in that. They sure as hell could have cut a hole right into it. Now the arm's out. Oh, it's coming out more. The white noise on this is a little much. I don't think there's any sound really. I think this would be much more convincing at like 2 times speed. Ooh, there you go. That was a good turn. That was some good motion. Did you see that? Let's go back to that. I think it's a pretty good pop off. Yeah. I do wonder why the hair moves before the head moves, though. See, right there. Watch that. Watch the hair right here. That moves before the head moves. Right there. Well, the head wiggles a little bit, but the hair moves before it starts turning, which makes me feel like someone's doing this behind there. Someone's going boop. I think that was good. Let's see how much more convincing it is at like 2 times speed, though. I'm gonna. Yeah, look at that. There we go. Watch that on. Or we'll go back to the glue stick. Okay. Alright. Go. And then stuff supposed to start happening. Arm goes out. It should be moving faster now. I would have uploaded this at 2 times speed at least. Because it's just white noise, right? There you go. There's the arm moving. Arm will move a little bit more. And then the head turned. Eye moved a little bit. The head's wiggling. Now watch the hair right there before the head turns. Right here. Alright. So I'm 100% convinced that someone's behind there turning the doll just manually. Not using any kind of fancy tricks. Literally just a hole in the back. And they're reaching through and manipulating the doll. Like that's probably why it's so slow, because they're being really meticulous about how they do it. But there's no fancy trickery here. It's just very, very plain, simple, like puppetry, basically puppetry tricks. This is the doll over here. That's moving. I'm thinking pulley on the pigtails. And then this one gets really poltergeisty here in a second. Yeah. That may have been done with a fan. Probably done with pulleys though.
Hey YouTube, Spunkflunk here. So today I wanted to ask you all a huge favor. And if you
Alright, now this one, the doll's back here in the bed on the corner.
guys could help me out, that would be great. And that favor is to help me get verified on Google /YouTube. And to do that, I need 1,000 followers on Google+. I only have about 123 right now. So if you could just click the link down below in the description, that'll take you to my Google+ page. And then if you could click add to circles and then just click following, that'd be awesome. It'll only take like a few seconds, and that'll get me to 1,000 followers probably within like 5 to 6 days. And then I'll finally have a little check mark by my name, and that would make me really happy. So if you guys could do that, that'd be really, really awesome. And before I end this video, I would like to give a shout out to King Cypher.
We can go left.
Hey YouTube, Spunkflunk here. So
the wall moving. This wall. To this wall.
hey YouTube, Spunkflunk here.
It almost seems like it. This wall over here is shaking. And this wall's stable.
To King Cypher Productions.
Dang
if
it,
you want to go
short ones jump
YouTube.
too fast. Okay. Right here, right now. Go. Yes, that whole side of the set is shaking and this side's stable. Interesting catch there. Interesting catch, Regios.
Hey YouTube, Spunkflunk here. So today I wanted to ask you all a huge favor, and if you guys could help me out, that would be great. And that favor is to help.
Spunk Flunk, it's not good. I don't know how many Spunk Flunk get as subscribers. It's just a Spunk Flunk has 126k subscribers, so he's doing better than me. Spunk Flunk away, my friend.
Help me get verified on Google Plus/YouTube. And to do that, I need 1,000 followers on Google Plus. I only have about 123 right now. So if you could just click the link down below in the description, that'll take you to my Google Plus page. And then if you could click add to circles and then just click following, that'd be awesome. It'll only take like a few seconds, and that'll get me to 1,000 followers probably within like 5 to 6 days. And then I'll finally have a little check mark by my name, and that would make me really happy. So if you guys could do that, that'd be really, really awesome. And before I end this video, I would like to give a shout out to King Cypher Productions. If you want to go check him out, the link to his channel is down below as well.
Yeah, that doesn't even need anything special either. Just like literally someone could stick a couple of fingers through the gap in that the bedpost there and move that doll that way off camera and not be seen. Get the Spunk Flunk out of here.
Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Whatever is there, can you move Eddie's arm, please?
Move Eddie's arm.
It said like Eddie in a bright kid's voice.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Move Eddie's arm, please.
Eddie cannot do it anymore. Dude, that was weird. It was like solid.
Oh, shit.
Nothing's over that too. That's expensive.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't pick up anything.
What are you trying to tell? No, it sends out a frequency.
Yeah.
In fact, it's 27 kilohertz. Bounces off a solid object and comes back.
Oh, there we go.
No, it sends out a frequency.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, it's 27 kilohertz. Bounces off a solid object and comes back.
Oh! I wonder if the vibration of that thing, that contraption there, the ghost hunting tool, didn't vibrate poorly. You know, dolls don't really. A lot of dolls, anyway, when the loose joints get loose, anyhow, don't stand as good as they may have once stood. But that vibration of that squeaky toy may have knocked him down. Next, please.
What the? A girl named Holly Armstrong. She was house sitting for a family who had been away for the weekend.
Now this is like a news report. So let me. I guess we'll let her narrate.
Kept saying that
for
she
2
got this
minutes.
really creepy feeling when she was upstairs in the house.
But I'm gonna keep stopping it every now and then because when it comes to these news report people, they do flag videos, and I do want to get this monetized if I can.
Okay, so she started to get really weirded out by sort of day 2. She went upstairs finally, and she was like, "Oh, why am I feeling this way?" She opened one of the closet doors and saw this.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my.
It's a doll.
Yeah, but it's
Oh my
it's
god.
moving
Oh my
in a
god. Oh my
really-
god.
Yeah, and it lifts its leg like that.
It 100%
my
knows
God.
that she's
Oh my God, oh my
there.
What would you do?
Well, I like her instinct. Run out
It's Santa.
of the house and light it on fire.
No, she didn't actually throw a match, as she clarified later, but she screamed, ran out of the house, and then contacted the owners to be like, what is happening here? I don't know what's going on. What are your theories? What do we think?
What?
All right, so this is it's either battery powered to click its heels or swing its feet, and it's sitting at a bad angle to make that happen, so it doesn't work. And every now and then that one comes around and lifts up the foot, but then click, 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 click. That's what it's doing. And you need to take the batteries out of your Take the batteries out of your holiday decorations, because if you don't, you might as well just throw it away, because by next year that battery is going to be ruined. You can't just leave them in there like that. And they'll do funny things too when the batteries get low. When there's corrosion on there, they'll start kicking on and off and not doing the right whatever you have the circuit set up to do, not doing the right operation. Anyway. I'm not convinced, but I'm not going to continue on this one because the news report thing. So we're going to switch to the next one. All right. Haunted doll caught moving. Very atmospheric music. Here we go. My family and I have been living in our current home for over 4 years. We've always had a feeling that our home is haunted due to the unexplained noises, clapping in one of our bedrooms, dark shadows and slamming doors. Our dog on many occasions has started growling and barking, looking directly to my bedroom where most of the noise comes from. My daughter experienced a few scary incidents. She woke up with scratches left on her arm. We couldn't figure out how she... Okay, I'm done reading this. Let's get to the doll already. I didn't realize it was going to be a whole novel. Is this the doll we're looking for? You better do something. Better be creepy. There's the hand moving. Got some hand movement. Nice. Okay. Let's see. Is that animatronic? The motions also on this one seem like an animatronic that has someone left the batteries in for a really long time. And now it doesn't act right. Yeah, that's what I'm going with on this one. Ooh, there was the breathe. Yeah. Yeah, I think because the motions seem to be in the motions seem to be in a limited range. A little rock back and forth, and arm up and down. Rock back and forth, arm up and down. So I think mechanical, maybe. The doll isn't creepy though. Yeah, it's just a normal. Next. Alright, for this intro, we better get something freaking cool. That's a cool intro. Haunted Salvage. Okay. Oh, I know this one. Watch the doll on the bed. But they say this is feathers from a dream catcher over here. I do see feathers from a dream catcher over here. This looks like marionette cables to me. Somebody could also easily, even if that is Dreamcatcher stuff, someone could obviously easily be under this mountain of pillows, right? Someone could easily be under the mountain of pillows. Alright, What's next?
So the other day, a lot of you guys know I went to an antique store and I actually stumbled across a real haunted doll. It said on the tag she was haunted and it said she was number 666. So of course I had to buy her because I was so curious. And she had no eyes. She looked so eerie. I had to bring her home with me. So of course I secured the bag. I just bought the doll. And then I brought her home and I ran some tests on her to see if she was actually haunted, and I got evidence of her moving her eyes all by herself. When I was editing, I noticed that she actually moved her eyes. If you watch closely right here, she moves her eyes from the left to the right all on her own, and it's actually horrifying because she didn't even have eyes before that.
Well, obviously the eyes were stuck up inside of it. Come on now. You ever had one of them dolls with the moving eyes in it? They're on a thing, and that can fall back inside there, but if you shake it or move it forward, the eyes can come back up into place. Never had a moving eye doll before? Okay. No, this... And these freaking songs you people put on these shorts are gonna get my channel, my freaking video demonetized every goddamn time. I don't, because I don't know what they are. They're like just like a little theme music, but
In the moonlight,
all right.
my honey, I know with the dawn that you will be gone. But tonight, in the moonlight, my honey,
I think that's just a little toddler in a. It's just a little toddler in a wig and a doll mask, right?
that you will be gone. But tonight.
Sorry, someone's blowing up my phone. So, yeah, we get a nice little preamble here. Well, its eyes move. It's a moving eye doll. Are these people really so lost that they don't know a doll that moves its eyes when they see one? That's just what they do. And the eyes close. And open. You can switch directions when you lean them this way and that way. they're just weighted with little bearings. It moved on its own when I moved it, right? Yeah. See, I think some of these are like teenagers and stuff putting together. As I moved her head, I noticed she started to look at me. So yeah, because she moved her head, she has berries in her eyes. Move her head. When you move her head, her eyes are gonna, yeah. They're weighted. They're weighted, of course. All those dolls have weighted eyes. Avoid the attic.
We're going to be leaving the location of the last video, which was Mono Lake in California, and be heading over to Japan. This is a video that took place when it was being live streamed. I don't know the exact area of Japan or the full backstory, just that it was a live streamer who was showing off a doll collection.
さりしてるな。もっさりしてるけど、なんかおかしいなやっぱり髪。
Yeah, the eye moves. That's what they're panicking about. Again, weighted eyes and someone messing with it.
There are dolls you can buy with movable eyes, and if you go onto Amazon, you can find them. But in this case, the guy just touches the hair of the doll, doesn't move it, doesn't pick it up. There's no force added to that doll that should have made the eyes tilt like that. So
what if the eyes have magnets in them and he has a ring on? That could do it.
I don't know. Maybe it really is haunted. If you're
I just got back from my break, and let me tell you, it was crazy. There were a lot of rowdy people, drunk people, so I figured I should make a video and show you how to punch somebody if you need to. And funny enough, not a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay, so first it falls.
Okay. This is my Hawaii baby. I got her from some old lady after we explored this caves, and it was a nice little gift. But anyway, so to punch somebody with a fist, you don't have your thumb underneath. You actually need it on top here. Just align.
Nope. There goes again.
Finger.
Doom doom doom.
And let not fall anymore.
Now this time she sets it very precariously. Watch. She's like, oh, you know what? I bet you'll be better if I stand you leaning at an angle on the TV stand. Probably because she's trying to get it positioned right on the pull string.
Alright, so yes, punching, and then you punch with these two knuckles right here, and you have to keep your wrist kind of straight, otherwise you're gonna hurt yourself while you defend yourself, and that's not good.
Oh, there we go. Now it's scooting. Pull string. Tape to the bottom.
Just move.
Or glued to the bottom.
Okay. Okay. Oh, and you have to keep your wrist kind of straight, otherwise you're gonna hurt yourself.
This is where I decided the hose right there.
Good.
It's like up to that point, I was like, oh, this lady just doesn't know how to set this up there so it doesn't fall.
Did that just move? I don't think it did. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. This is too much.
Hi, baby. You like your new toy?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Lovable.
Lovable. Sure his name isn't like Fred or Henry?
Arm moving.
Oh. Sure his name isn't like Fred or Henry?
Slows down.
Oh.
Sure his name isn't like Fred or Henry?
Oh.
Sure his name isn't like...
Oh.
I'm going with puppeteering on
Sure
this
his
one here,
name
right up
isn't
inside
like
there.
Fred or Henry?
But it doesn't even, the hand doesn't even touch this, so this might be on a pull string.
Oh.
Alright, next, because we gotta get through
And on the 10th day before Christmas, we bring you a doll that moves head. Enjoy. It moves head. That's what it says.
We're not gonna watch.
Caralho. Dori, a boneca tá se mexendo.
This is the type of toy you
Filmando.
I don't want their narration.
Caralho.
I just couldn't find
Dori,
this other narrator.
a boneca tá se mexendo. Caralho.
I mean, the head
Dori,
could be moving with anybody
a
back
boneca tá
behind
se
there.
mexendo.
This is the type of toy you get when you're on Santa's hit list. For some reason,
Caralho. Dori, a boneca tá se mexendo.
There's some stuff going on here too, though.
this is the type of toy you get when you're on.
What's going on with this girl's
Tô
hand right
filmando.
here?
Caralho.
It almost
Dori,
seems like she's wheeling
a boneca tá
something
se
with her
mexendo.
fingers. Right?
Caralho.
There's something going on in this hand.
Dori, a boneca tá se mexendo.
She's doing a good job, but there's something going on in that hand. Copyright. Oh boy. Doll. How are we supposed to know if it's moving when the camera, when you got the filters all waving like that? Right? But clearly, they did that to try to hide some of the shenanigans. But there's somebody behind the couch just pulling that along.
This mother recorded her daughter singing and playing with her doll in what started out as a sweet moment. But when she showed it to the father, he noticed something unsettling. If you look closely, you can see the doll swiftly turn itself towards the camera. Although
That's
this
a
is an
dancing
electronic
Dora.
doll, the user who posted this video claims that it didn't have any batteries in it at the time. But here's a similar video of the same doll
Okay,
when
yeah,
it's
that's
on
the
low
dancing
battery.
Dora doll.
It could just be the result of a low battery, or perhaps it was something else. What do you think?
That's another one like the one that we watched just a minute ago, where there's obviously some more going on in the video than.
A babysitter experienced the most terrifying night with a doll that looks like Shaky.
I don't know who Shaky is. Is that a creepypasta? Do you guys know who Shaky is?
Oh my god!
That's the dog.
Sadie, you scared me. Don't do that, dude.
Noticed the dog has been staring at the doll.
Dogs can get uncanny valley too, like about Christmas decorations and Halloween decorations that look like people and things. Dogs get uncanny valley as well. They don't like things that look like they should be a person, but they're not. They get uncomfortable about them. And they will, like, even to the point of tearing them up when you're not around. It's really dark, but there's the doll. There's the toy next to it. Like, doll. Really freaking blurry. You got a light switch somewhere, pal? Oh, it's set up.
Yo.
It
Is
fell
this
backwards.
truly a chapter from the Madness Chronicles? Or just a
It probably staged. With the dark, how dark it was, I'm gonna say, yeah.
fabricated thrill? Share your thoughts in the comments.
But humans get uncanny valley effect from dogs too sometimes, but not as much because we're desensitized to stuffed animals. So, but like a taxidermy dog can be pretty unnerving to be around. Taxidermy cats can too, depending on the situation.
Tenedor amarillo. Pues se me está cayendo todo. Perdón, se me está cayendo todo.
I'm dropping everything.
Dos cuchillos amarillos iguales.
Now you gotta put the creepy sound effects on it. Doll's back here, right?
Tengo esta tacita rosita.
Watch the doll's arm.
Y esta tacita.
There it goes. Knocked over the cup.
Como fucsia.
The fact that it's halfway off camera.
Huevo.
It's already sus.
Sí.
But now it raised its arm. Arm back down. At least that one actually raised its arm. Oh shoot. That's pretty cool. I like this one.
I heard if you use this sound, you will get a lot of.
Oh no. You better crawl away, baby. The babushka doll can get you. I don't know, is that what that is?
I heard if you use this sound, you will get.
No. Thinking some puppeteering's going on here, probably. Just my thoughts on it.
I heard if you use this sound, you will get a lot of likes, but creepy comments.
Are you recorded?
Yeah. Okay, good.
So Liana just told us that this doll right here in the middle just moved by itself again. She said it happened yesterday.
this is the
too.
last
It was
one.
moving.
Okay, we'll see.
This
But
one
I
right
think
here.
it's just your imagination.
Look, it's
Oh my God.
moving.
Whoa, go, go, go!
Yeah, that was definitely staged. I can't, but how? That's a good question. A proper pulley system could work. Again, it's moving more organic, like something's behind it. So someone's doing this too. Like someone's doing a little turn. There's a few things that could be going on here, including a remote control thing behind there, just causing it to move. There's a few different ways that could be going down, but yeah. Actually, we have a couple more. Let's see how many more. Yeah, the next one's the last one. All right, here we go. Last one, and it's just this arm going up. The way it's moving, it almost makes me wonder if they put like clockworks inside of it with the arm on like a second hand cycle. What do you think? Yeah. All right. Well, Well, that was an interesting little tour of haunted doll videos from around YouTube. I may do another second installment from TikTok if there's different ones out there, but if not, then I may leave it alone. It won't be my next video regardless, so keep that in mind as well. But did you have a favorite from the list that we showed? Which one did you think was the most convincing? And have you ever owned a haunted doll? If so, tell me about it below. Tell me about your haunted doll experience, and I will gladly share that if it's interesting on the channel. Yeah, but for now, thank you for joining me for Cryptic Corner. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, live from the Hive audience, please do not leave. Please do not vacate the premises, because we are not done yet. I promise we are not. There's more show to come. Okay, so don't go. This is just an intermission. And next we are going to get into my sci fails, where we're going to talk about shrimps as bugs. Don't go, don't go. All right, I will see you after intermission. Hello, my beauties and bees. Thank you for joining me for another installment of Sci-Fails. Now, today is kind of a different episode. Usually on Sci-Fails, I will take a concept or a video, a blog, something like that, where the person doesn't know what the hell they're talking about scientifically, and I'll blow the lid off of it. Today it's more about a meme, but a meme that causes people to ask a certain set of questions. And what is that question? Or what is that declaration, I should say, that shrimp is bugs? All right, so there's a few problems with this statement, right? Shrimps and bugs are colloquial terms. They're not really scientific groupings, right? Like monkey or dog or squid. You know, those are all common names, not scientific names. And shrimp and bugs is the same thing. Now, what constitutes a shrimp's pretty well defined. You know, there's not a lot of wiggle room there. There's a few things that are called shrimp that aren't. That we could open up a whole another can of worms with that, but that's not gonna be relevant to this argument, because everything that is considered a shrimp is already very well nested in crustaceans. So we're going to be happy to say that, using the common name that, peacock mantis shrimps, for instance, they're not shrimp, not at all. So if they're going to be grouped into, if they're going to be called shrimp and we try to have to build a clade around that, what would that encompass? And it wouldn't extend beyond crustaceans. So it doesn't have any real bearing on whether shrimps is bugs. What has bearing on shrimps as bugs is whether bugs can be crustaceans. Now, I'm going to give my opinion on that. Colloquially speaking, if we were to make a clade that included the organisms that we call bugs, what would be included in that? Well, when we think about it, the bugs, there's the true bugs, Heteropoda, the needle-nosed, the original bugs, true, because the first bug that was named a bug that coined the term bug was a bed bug. And bed bugs are true bugs. They have these little proboscises that stick into... Yeah, mantis shrimp are not shrimp, and they're not mantises, and they're not peacocks. Right. Some shrimps are shrimps. That's true. All right, so that's the main group. That's what you call the true bugs. If you want to be a purist, if you want to be an elitist, bugs are members of Heteropoda, and anything else that's called a bug is a misnomer. But due to the nature of language, and these aren't Latin names, so they're not proper scientific groups, so we have to pick what clade to apply them to, right? So, when it comes to a term like bugs, so outside of true bugs, Heteropoda, there's the Hemiptera, which is bugs. In a sense, they have the same qualities of the Heteropoda. They got the needle nose. They got the 6 legs, right? Got the chitinous carapace exoskeleton, right? Little buggy antennas and all that good stuff. They're mandibulata too. So those are what we would classify as bugs, or some might say real bugs, okay? And that's fine. You want to say bugs or Hemiptera, absolutely fine. That's probably the best way to classify them scientifically. But then you're going to have a whole slew of misnomers. So if we wanted to try to justify all the misnomers, at least as many as possible, of individual species with a common name that is bug, not a portmanteau like ladybug, because we know ladybugs aren't bugs because the name's squished together. When you see a name squished together like that, it generally indicates that they aren't a true member of that grouping. Like dragonfly are not actually flies, because the dragon and the fly is a portmanteau. That's generally true. Ladybug is another example. Or love bugs are another example. Those are both beetles that are called bugs. So discounting the portmanteau since that's a single word, because then we'd have to, if we're going to classify things like that, we'd have to do any name that's a portmanteau, which all scientific names are basically portmanteaus in Latin. So, this we'll nix that and we'll say only animals with bug in their name as a standalone, right? So we got insects within the order Hemiptera that are called bugs, but outside of that order, we got things like palmetto bugs, right? Palmetto bugs are definitively bugs, right? Someone says, "Is that a bug?" and you point to a palmetto bug, they're going to say, "Yes, that's a bug." In common parlance, right? Like to the average person, that's a bug. So if we're going to make a clade of what the average person would identify as a bug, we would include palmetto bugs, because they're insects. They meet a lot of the criteria, and to a lot of people, cockroaches in general are the definitive bug. When they think of bug, they think of a cockroach. A lot of names for cockroaches have bug in them. Water bug is something that's commonly named, a common name for a lot of wood roaches. They're just a normal common name for roaches, but other animals get grouped into here too. Of course, mantises, people consider them bugs. They'll say, "Oh, that's a predatory bug." Now, water bugs, like actual giant water bugs, are true bugs. They're actually, they got the poison and pinchers and everything. Assassin bugs are true bugs. Like they're in the clade, right? They're nested in there. They're really definitively bugs. But other people, lightning bugs are also called bugs. It's a regional name for them. That's true. And if you do include that, then it does encompass beetles, which is fine if we're going to say, so bugs could be used as a term for the order for insects, right? Insecta, or maybe hexapoda. Yeah, let's do hexapoda. So if you say, it's the name for hexapoda, that's fine until we get to like this. So this is where the problems really arise with grouping. What is a bug? What is a bug, right? Is when we get into sow bugs and pill bugs, because they are definitively not in hexapoda. Not at all. They are absolutely nested deeply in crustacea. So, if they're nested in crustacea, but they're still bugs, then in order to make a monophyletic clade, In order to make a monophyletic clade, we'll have to do some shifting around. So what you see here in the upper left is what we call polyphyletic. So if we were to use the term bug and try to build a clade on it based on the common names, you would have insects over here, all of Hemiptera right here, but this is including all insects as bugs, but it's also including isopods, which are where our sow bugs and pill bugs are fall into. So this would be polyphyletic. This is two separate groups that have the same name, that they're part of the same group, but not all their ancestry is the same, and it really doesn't work. It's useless scientifically. Fine colloquially, useless scientifically. All right, then you say, okay, well, what if we include isopods and their ancestors and insects and their ancestors, but we're not going to include the crustaceans that we eat because we don't want to think about eating bugs, which I think is a lot of where this stems from. So they're like, okay, so then you create an outgroup where all of this is included and all of this is included, but this is the outgroup, which is shrimp. That's paraphyletic, right? So putting shrimp as an out, or crust, and I say shrimp, and when I say shrimp here, I'm talking crab, lobster, all the edible sea bugs that we enjoy, right? They are, but to make this a solid, consistent clade, you're going to have to include them under bugs. If you're going to include isopods and you're going to include the insects together, it has to go under one umbrella. If those are both bugs. Now you can say isopods aren't really bugs, and that's fine. Like I said, you can say not all insects are really bugs too, and that's fine. Depends on how you want to define bugs. But in the usage in the entomological community, when we say bugs, generally like when we're doing especially bug ID is a good thing, because in bug ID we will identify any kind of terrestrial invertebrates really for you. So that's going to include spiders, myriapods like centipedes and millipedes, things that are definitely not bugs. Sometimes even extending out to things like gastropods for snails and such, snails and slugs. So it's really going to be a matter of convention at that point, but we use the word colloquially to identify ourselves too. So it's saying, well, we're entomologists and things like it was like, oh, bug nerds. It's the bug nerd group, the bug forum, the bug guide, which is what we use for a lot of our identification stuff, and it's called bug guide, even though there's spiders and scorpions and centipedes in there. So that actually extends it beyond what we're using it here for technically. In that case, you're using bug to identify all of arthropoda, because you're including the chelicerates, the arachnids like spiders and scorpions, and the myriapods, which are a mandibulata with hexapods and crustaceans, but not part of pancrustacea. So, really depends on where you want to plant your flag. So shrimps are insectoid. Well, that's the fun thing about shrimp, right? There's a lot to unwrap there. But I think the if you wanted to be monophyletic, yeah, you're gonna have to then you're gonna have to say that bugs is a junior synonym of pancrustacea, or some level of some cladistic ranking between the divergence of pancrustacea and the divergence of hexapoda. That's where you're going to have to plant your flag. If you want to include isopods, which I think, for most people, again, common parlance, isopods are bugs. So then that would, if you go by that, and most people aren't talking about scientific names when they're talking about this. So if you go by the common term that people you say when they talk about bugs, then shrimps is bugs. If you get my meaning. All right. We've got a couple of videos on this factor too that we're going to pop in and watch. So, hang with me here. Got to get this out of the way. Where's the slide? There it is. All right, we're going to watch this real quick. Oh. No. Where else is the sound? Hold on. Just getting it set up here to play. Sorry about that. Let me refresh here again.
Earlier this year, a Redditor went viral for asking how he should cover up this tattoo. Now, thankfully, Reddit convinced him to keep it, as it's obviously one of the best tattoos in the history of ever. And it begs a scientific question. Is shrimps, in fact, bugs? Here's my take as a biologist. The term bug is often used to describe any small crawling or flying.
Sorry, he's really quiet.
Biologically speaking, the only true bugs belong to the insect order Hemiptera. That being said, shrimps do in fact share far more of their biology with insects than they do with us. Both bugs and shrimps have exoskeletons composed of chitin, they both have jointed, segmented appendages and bodies, and they repeatedly shed and grow new exoskeletons throughout their life. But perhaps most importantly, like all arthropods, both insects and shrimps' bodies are a mirror image to vertebrate bodies along the dorsal ventral axis, with their nerve cord on their tummy and their main blood vessels along their back. So while technically different taxonomic groups, shrimps are definitely more bugs than us. Kinda, at least.
So that doesn't even get into the classification thing that we talked about. That I went into. This is just talking about as compared to the other things that we interact with and eat. Shrimps is more like bugs, but yeah, I love shrimp. We're gonna do. I have a fairy shrimp video that to end this about their genetics. So stick around if you like fairy shrimp, because at the end of this segment, at the end of Sci Fails, I have a little video, but just a quick little educational video about using cherry shrimp to do like Punnett squares and stuff. It's really cool. So stick around for that. And I don't know why it's still up here. Let me see. And then I got these guys. This conversation was just hilarious. So it's from 5 years ago, but it's wild. Listen to these guys. It's about 6 minutes long. We're going to have a good laugh. These are funny guys. So they're just wrong about some stuff, and it's funny.
You growing out over here? Jeez. Look at this guy. Hey. Hell yeah. You're fresh. Damn, dog. You fresh, Gus. You fresh.
I mean, that fucking food, man. We got now good ass rice bowl with veggies and lettuce and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like veggie life, bro. You know I'm doing that veggie life with you?
Yeah.
But no, I be cheating, but I eat fish too. I be eating that fish. I be eating that shelly.
Oh, that shelly. Ooh.
Crustaceans.
Oh, the anthropods.
Yep.
You be eating, bro. They have the same insect.
Arthropods. He said anthropod, but
insect family, cuz the same insect family that came from roaches, shrimps. They're just born in the ocean, shrimps. Any
They're the same goddamn. They're insects of the sea.
Yes, insects of the sea. Why do you think they got the name of it? Because they are insects. You got crab.
This is inverted. So insects are crustaceans. Crustaceans are not insects. They're kind of getting it backwards. That's okay.
That's right. Like spiders. They're just like spiders. You got lobster.
Spiders are not really close. Insects are closely related. He said crabs are like spiders, but there are aquatic or marine animals that are closely related to spiders. There are, of course, the sea spiders. They're not actual true spiders, but they're chelicerates. They're in the group with the arachnids. And then there was sea scorpions, and then there are horseshoe crabs, which are chelicerates as well. So they're close related to spiders than they are to insects. So there's two groups there. There's chelicerates and mandibulata. Chelicerates are horseshoe crabs, sea scorpions, scorpions and spiders, arachnids in general. Those are all chelicerates, and then mandibulata is most of the people are going to say insects, crustaceans, and centipedes and millipedes. So that's mandibulata. And that means that they have mandibles on either side. There's a lot of development to insect mouth parts and Hox genes and to tell the difference between which groups these belong into. I did a wonderful series with Aaron Raw last year about the evolution of spiders, where we went all the way from trilobites to spiders to modern spiders, tracing the lineage of chelicerates. But shrimps and bugs, they're not chelicerates; they're mandibulata. So anyway,
that are just like scorpions. You got shrimp.
Man, think about like scorpions.
Yeah, if you see the shrimp, they got the antennas and shit, just like roaches. They all got exoskeletons and shit. Yeah, bro, it's nasty. You're really eating insects.
That's because they're all arthropods, not because they're all bugs, though. Of course, then again, could you say, because bug kind? Yeah, we use the term colloquially to cover that. So
and it's so crazy.
They're not even eating nothing that's protein, right? It's just fat. What is it? It's not muscle. What is it? Muscle. What we eating?
It's meat. There's actually been a few polls that I've taken part on what we should call bug meat. I think we should call it grub, but that's too on the nose for some people. Like if you say you want to go out and have some grub, that'd be going to an insect restaurant.
From what I see, it is meat. They do have meat. I don't know. The same thing. I don't know.
It's meat. It's meat. Yeah. What else would you call it?
It's meat, though.
Crab.
You like crab? I used to like lobster. Lobster used to be my thing.
Bro, we fuck up crabs.
You know what it is?
Crabs and some shrimp real quick. I know who it and crabs, so it's fucking full of it. Motherfucker, you bought a damn crabs, bro. Take that shit to the grill out. The newspaper on the table. Fucking break no business open.
But I tell you what, man. Crab and lobster. It's just an excuse to eat 2 pounds of butter. There's no other food, and I dip so much in butter.
I do eat a lot of butter with seafood. I'm not gonna lie.
How much like butter? How do you get butter and something that comes from the ocean?
You ain't lying, bro. That's the most butter I dip too.
For real, yeah.
So you guys have a heart.
Man, now I'm wanting to go get some crab legs.
Even good bread, not much butter. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, bro.
But crab?
You had it juiced
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Big drop that it come out. You gotta like.
See, the thing I hate about crab is you gotta be like a caveman with drill tools and shit. I feel like, I feel like I'm doing auto body work and shit. Right?
Yeah, you can burn calories while you eat, though, if you're eating crab. You're burning calories, cracking them legs open.
The mask on, the flame, you know, like I'm doing welding and shit, trying to pull it apart and shit. Come on now. Anything you give me a hammer to beat up.
What kind of crab are you eating where they're giving you a blowtorch and hammer? That's a hell of a crab restaurant. I can't even think of a crab that would require that.
That I have to eat? Come on, guys. That's you can't even, how much trouble do I have to go through, guys?
That's how when people kill people down.
And it's so crazy, bro, those crabs, right? Those crabs, they're creepy crawlers, bro. They walk sideways. They're so freaky, dog. They're freaky. They're freaky.
I bet they think it's freaky that we walk facing forward. They're probably like, why are the vertebrates like that? What's wrong with them? Why do they move that way?
So they can't walk a straight line.
Because God just made them to keep the fucking ocean
They're lucky
clean.
they don't drive. They'll be getting DUIs left and right.
That's all they for. They just created to keep the ocean clean. That's their purpose.
That's what our insects for.
Oh.
They clean up the land and the waste and the crumbs. And then the sea insects, right? Clean up the ocean. Yeah, that's
Oh, we're going to get biblical. Bet you didn't see that coming. So they were created to clean up the ocean, right? Well, not with all the freaking microplastics and stuff. They can't, so we need to do something about that. I'm okay with creationists thinking that the insects were created with the purpose to clean up detritus because, or detritus. I don't know why I said detritus. Detritus, because at least they'll keep them from like exterminating them.
You know, in China, they put a lot of the shrimp that they eat over here in America, we get it from China, and they put it in like cesspools of you know, like shit water, like sewage water. They put a whole bunch of shrimp, and they clean it. They eat it all up.
There's some conspiracy theory for you. No, they do eat, the crustaceans do eat waste, like that flows out of, well, any kind of waste pipe into the ocean. They'll pick through it and eat waste for sure. But yeah, they don't bulk feed food like farmed crustaceans with human wastewater. That's not true.
That's what they eat. They eat all the waste, all the shit, and all the piss that when you flush down the toilet and it goes to the ocean. Those are the things that.
Yeah, who's your buddy? You're right. We don't even have eye stalks. Humans kind of suck. Our eyes are sunk into our heads. It's like humans make fun of owls because their eyes are huge and they can't turn them because they don't have the muscles to, so they just turn their heads. But I bet they think it's freaky that we have eyes that can turn, as we think it's freaky that snails and crabs and stuff have eye stalks that they can turn around.
It eats it.
Yeah, that's why God gave the wisdom to people that don't eat that shit.
Yes, and think about it. And then they say don't eat pig. Pig is another bottom feeder that will eat anything.
That's the land bottom feeder.
Yeah,
he eat the deep bottom. Like he's like a damn.
Now they say
he's like what's the shit called, vultures?
Oh, the vultures are the same thing.
Like,
or even like
you're mixing up detritivores with scavengers, which they do. So some detritivores are scavengers, and some scavengers are detritivores, but they're not necessarily the same group. They have a lot of overlap, though, so I guess I can allow it. Not that these guys need me to allow anything, but
like a hyena.
Hyenas, man, them is nasty.
Yeah, those are nasty.
They like a man, female.
They
male, female, cat, dog.
Yo,
that's a shit.
No, and they're not.
Well, they're not a cat or a dog. They're closely related to civets.
Even cats or dogs. Right. They're in the weasel family.
Weasel. No, they're not. Where are you getting that from? No, these are not. Hyenas are not weasels. They're closely related to mongoose. But mongooses are not weasels. And I think you're probably making the mistake there. Because mongooses and weasels fill a similar ecological niche. That is the low-slung, burrow-raiding predator that feeds on rodents and lagomorphs like rabbits and other things that live under the ground.
Fucking weasels. No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, they're weasels. Hell yeah.
How can you determine they're weasels?
That's what they. Oh no, not like mongoose. Well, mongoose are weasels. Yeah.
No, mongoose are not weasels.
No, not.
Neither one of them are rodents. They're all carnivores. So mongooses and weasels are carnivores. Mongooses are closely related to cats in the feliform, with the hyenas over there as well. They're even closer related to hyenas, but they're with the Feliformia. And then weasels are the caniform answer to it. Yeah, weasels are on the other side of that. Both filling the same niche. Obviously, the Feliforms filled all those niches in what would have been the first settling of Gondwana land when it separated off from Australia. So like Africa and the Indian subcontinent and stuff. Feliforms dominated that area for a long time, whereas caniforms dominated Europe and North America, right? That continent during this early Cenozoic. Now, each group had clades that moved in to fill these different niches separately on separate ends of the earth, right? You had like wolves filling the niche of cursorial predator on the North America and Europe continent, and then you had in the Africa and India continent, you had hyenas filling that niche. So other things that you'll look at for this comparison too is like on this Indian African subcontinent, they had Afrotheres, which are they're like elephants, manatees. They filled this big browser niche, right? And then the rest, and then the Eurasian continent, it was filled the big browser niche was filled mostly by at first anyway, was filled mostly by artiodactyls. That's why you get camels and horses and things that come from that continent and moved back into Africa. And these two, I mean, after billions of years, these two groups mixed and they swapped biomes a little bit and organisms a lot, but there were certain organisms that were locked into their niches so that the new invaders couldn't take over that. And that's why you see the divide between weasels and mongoose. Loosely, I mean, they still kind of tend, like, you'll find more weasel species in the Eurasian and North American continents, and more mongoose species in the Indian and African continents. As a matter of fact, I can't think of any. So I think there's some mongooses that moved into like Europe and stuff. Anyway, off topic.
I don't know what they are, but yeah, that's some crazy shit.
We gotta get into this video.
Oh, wait. Okay. So before we get there,
all right. I think that's about it for these guys. I just thought that was a funny conversation. Okay, so when it comes to eating bugs, there are safe and healthy ways to eat bugs. And I just want to go over the 12 edible bugs that can help you survive real quick before we wrap up this segment for the day. We got Bree's Bestiary coming up next. So if you're watching this live from the Hive, stick around for that. But 12 edible bugs that could help you survive. In many parts of the world, entomophagy, or eating bugs, is commonplace. Insects are actually the most abundant protein source on the planet, and many of them boast dense concentrations of nutrients like omega-3s. If 2 billion people can invite insects to the dinner table, it shouldn't be too much of a stretch for you to include edible bugs in your emergency survival diet. All right, we're going to start with some hoppy boys, crickets and grasshoppers. In many parts of the world, eating bugs is commonplace. Insects are actually, and that's the same. So which bugs can you catch and eat? I don't recommend catching and eating any bugs. If you want to eat bugs, eat farmed bugs, because you're going to get caught insects are going to eat your pathogens and stuff. No. Grasshoppers and crickets are extraordinarily protein rich, and you can collect them pretty much anywhere. Most types of grasshoppers and crickets are edible. If you want to try it without picking legs out of your teeth, you can try a store-bought food product called cricket powder or cricket flour. Cricket powder is very high in protein, has similar baking properties to regular flour, and is slightly nutty in flavor. If you do decide to go wild, remember they carry nematodes, so remember to cook them before you eat them. Yeah, I just don't think wild insect foraging. There's too much heavy metals in the ground. That's all I can say. Where they pupate anymore. How to catch them? Okay. Yeah, we're not going to read all the different catching methods and stuff, but next on the list we got edible ants. When and where, anytime. They also grind these up into like a black protein powder. The edible ants. Termites. Termites are a great source of protein, and since they live most of their lives buried away in the wood, they are less likely to carry parasites than other insects. Mature adult termites have wings and can fly. The other stages, larva, worker, a soldier, nymph, and queen, can't fly, so they're easier to snag. In some cultures, termite queens are regarded as a delicacy. Who knew you could eat like royalty while eating insects? Yeah, and termite queens, I imagine they're loaded with protein. They live a long time too, like 40 years. Grubs. This is why I think that insect protein should be called grubs. I don't like the aesthetic that they're showing here. They should show some cooked up. This is like putting like a raw chicken breast up there and saying chicken. Why would you put that like that instead of just putting a, maybe some seasoning and stuff? Yeah, or it's like a whole dead raw chicken up there instead of... Is this the one you dreaded reading about? When someone says grub, they're typically referring to the larval stage of beetles. There are over 344 grub species consumed around the globe, including the witchetty grub in Australia, palm weevil grub in some Asian countries, giant water bug in North America, and mopane worm in Africa. Some of them are small and crunchy like mealworms, and some are fat and juicy like rhinoceros beetle larvae. Wood lice, and these are... Get all the bug names here, like we just went over. Also called sow bugs, potato bugs, roly-polies, or pill bugs. Wood lice are actually not a bug at all, because they're not as we went over, they're not an insect, they're not a hemiptera, and they're not a heteropoda. So they're in fact they're even called land shrimp because they are terrestrial crustaceans. All you gotta do is turn over a log. Earthworms. No, earthworms are not bugs at all. You may find that would extend, oh my gosh, that would extend the title of bug all the way out to cover all of protostomia, which means like cephalopods and stuff would be bugs too. Are worms technically bugs? No, not even close, but they are edible. You probably played with these more than you've eaten them. However, things are about to change since, you're here. If push comes to shove, you can go scrounging for these wiggly morsels. Maybe thinking of a free-range, very fresh spaghetti will help you slide them down your gullet easier. Remember to squish out the poop before you eat them. Bon appetit. I'd be pretty dang desperate to eat worms. While worms can be eaten raw in an emergency, you should cook them if at all possible. Like most things on the list, they can potentially carry parasites, and the parasites potentially could motivate you to cook them first. Not to mention the extremely unpleasant process of eating live worms. Stink bugs. Yep. Believe it or not, stink bugs are edible. Generally speaking, you shouldn't eat noxious, odoriferous bugs. Stink bugs, however, are the exception. They're just fine to send down the hatch after you cook them, of course. They're even considered a delicacy in Mexico, where there is an annual festival in Taxco to celebrate them. Scorpions. I have eaten scorpions before. Scorpions are a common street food in China and can be found in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and the other southwestern states. They taste a bit like crab. If you decide to dine on scorpion, make sure that you cut the stinger off first. Usually the venom is produced and stored in the top 2 or so segments of the tail. And make sure you cook them. Cooking generally negates the venom's poisonous properties. You can still have an allergic reaction to it. Unlike a bee or wasp, you're not likely to get stung by a scorpion after it's dead. If you've never eaten scorpion before, however, it might be best to avoid these, but if you're in a survival situation, you might not have a choice. Earwigs. Have you ever lifted up a pot in the garden and seen a horde of critters flee away into the grass? That could be your lunch escaping. Earwigs are edible and safe to eat. They don't have stingers and don't have venom. They look like a cross between an ant, the head portion, and a scorpion, the pincher bit. I don't know about that being scorpion-like. I don't see how that's scorpion-like, but you do you. And are about the size of one of those flattened pennies you get at the fair. When agitated, they might try to attack with their pinchers, but the pinch usually don't break the skin or don't even hurt very much. Aphids. Yeah, all those ants can't be wrong. Aphids got to be delicious, right? Do you remember the children's book, The Grouchy Ladybug? The tale's protagonist is in search of dinner. Aphids. Aphids are tiny little insects that love sweet sap. They're often green or black, but come in a wide variety of colors. They're very small, and you could probably fit more than 50 of them on a penny. Now, you get to be the grouchy ladybug, but you don't have to share like the ladybug did. Maggots. Grubs and maggots are a bit different. Even if they're both pretty gnarly and maybe not prime snack material, grubs are fat and juicy and usually white in color. Maggots are thin, yellowish brown, and legless. Grubs usually refer to beetle larvae, while maggots usually refer to fly larvae. They are both edible, though, so they've got that going for them. Dragonflies. Dragonflies are most common in the spring and summer months. They're more or less have 2 life cycles. They have more than that, but we're not going to nitpick nymph and adult. Both of these stages are edible, though one is much easier to catch than the other. While they're in their nymph stage, they're often green and about the size of the first 2 segments. I think it's supposed to be first 2 segments of your pointer finger, and waterborne. Much easier to catch when they can't zoom away. The adult stage is what you're used to seeing, a fully grown dragonfly. These are edible, but can be a pain to catch, and how fast and dexterous they are. All right. Edible bugs you probably want to avoid, and it's going to get into, not eating snails. You can eat tarantulas. You just got to cook them right. And caterpillars, because caterpillars have lots of poisons involved. Bees and wasps are going to sting you even if they're dead, like they said, though. Their bodies are still going to react. All right, so that was our episode of Sci Fails. Is shrimps bugs? Is shrimps bugs? Is a good question. Depends on what you mean when you say bugs. If when you say bugs, you include spiders and insects, then yes, shrimps is bugs. Because if a spider is a bug and an insect is a bug, that means that the bug, being a bug is ancestral to both Mandibulata and Chilicerata. So it would be ancestral to all Mandibulata and all crustaceans and all pancrustacea and all Mandibulata for that matter. So it would loop in centipedes and millipedes as bugs. All pretty much all terrestrial arthropods, like every single one of them. I think it would loop in pretty much all arthropods altogether. If you were to give spiders and I don't extend it to spiders. I think pancrustacea is about the furthest I'm willing to bend on that, on what is a bug. So if you want to say roly-polies are bugs, if you want to say pill bugs, potato bugs, sow bugs are bugs, then yeah, then shrimps is bugs. If you want to say that bugs is just insects, then no, they're not bugs. But then palmetto bugs would be bugs. And other bugs like lightning bugs would be bugs. Now, narrowing it down, if you want to say the bugs are just Hemiptera, then yeah, it's just the sucky bugs, the original bugs, the OG bugs. But that gets even more narrow when you want to say the true bugs, which are actually known as the true bugs, which is the Heteropoda. And then so it really depends on where you want to draw your line, because it's not a real clade, right? There's no real clade called bugs. Clades have generally scientific names. But if we were to apply the name bugs to a clade, it could be a junior synonym for any one of those, and you can make a good case for it based on naming convention of common names. But I wouldn't recommend it. But as far as things go, the notion of I think the notion of considering crustaceans bugs does help to destigmatize eating insects. I think a lot of people are more like, no, it stigmatizes eating seafood. Whatever. To each their own. Honestly, if you ask me what this bug is, and you show me a cockroach, I'm not going to be like, that's not a bug. What are you talking about? I'm not going to do that to you. I won't. If you ask me, if you show me a isopod, right? If you show me a little rubber ducky isopod, so look at this bug I found. I'm not going to be like, that's not a bug. It's a crustacean. It's not even an insect. I'm not going to do that to you, because that's just not a way to be. It's not a way to be. So I'm not going to do that. But to each their own. This is gonna be one of the strangest episodes of Sci-Fails that I've ever done. So please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, and once again, live from the Hive audience. Don't go anywhere. We still got Bree's Bestiary to come up, and I got kitties, more kitties for you. I did kitties a few weeks ago, but I found a new kitty I wanted to do, so deal with it. I'll see you guys over there.
all sea bugs. Shrimp are bugs. Little sea bugs. We are bugs.
I better unmute myself. Hello, hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another episode of Bree's Bestiary, where I pick whatever animal I want to talk about, and we talk about it, because this is my show, and it's what I do. So I love animals a lot. I love cats. I'm a real cat girl, right? Cat person. I haven't had a cat in years, though. With small kids, it's always my opinion. I've had small kids for the last 20 years. It's always been my thought that having a cat that uses a litter box in the house was not a good situation to have with small kids. So we just didn't ever have a cat. We had dogs. I still have 2 dogs, but I would like to have a cat someday again soon. I love all kinds of cats. Wild cats. I have a whole chat with Sumami where we just send cat pictures and videos back and forth. It's because I just love kitties so much. I love dogs too, don't get me wrong. Oh my gosh, I love dogs. But yeah, when it comes to a companion, like a pet companion, I'm more of a cat person. Obviously, I have my preferences for arthropods and stuff, but they don't show you affection too much. Anyhow, with that being said, people hear me all the time on this channel complain about domestic cats, especially on Eco News, right? I complain. I'm like, no, we can't just capture and release them. We need to eradicate them from the environment. That sounds very cruel, and people take that very hard. I cannot help my stance on that because they're so detrimental to the ecosystems that they enter, right? There's not much that can be done about that other than to remove them from that ecosystem. It does help in the long run to catch spay and neuter and release, but to the immediate environment that you're releasing those cats into, while their lifespans in the wild are shorter than they are in kept in captivity, they can still live many, many years and kill many, many birds and moles and rodents that are native and natural. I love cats, but I couldn't eat a whole one. Good stuff. Yeah, anyway, so what was I saying? Cats, yes. So despite all of this, I am still an avid supporter of cat ownership inside and under a controlled environment. If you you can take your cat outside. Just don't just let your cat free roam outside, right? You can take your cat outside, and they can explore and roam around the yard and stuff. Even the wild cats don't generally have too big of a territory. I don't think that cat territories average much over 5 miles square. So I think that's even highballing it. But we've been breeding cats for a long time. That's why they're so successful. They're doing exactly what we taught them to do, right? They're doing exactly what we built them to do, and then we complain about how that they're so dang good at it. Hey, Nikki. Good morning. I would say you complain about how domestic cats are handled, not about domestic cats as bad and evil. Yeah, it's really that is the problem, and I've contributed to it. I've contributed to that problem in the past myself. I've had, in my youth, we had cats that were outside. We lived in the country. We had barn cats, and they had regular litters that would either be adopted or become new generations of barn cats or disappear, which is generally the life of a barn cat. We didn't get them any kind of veterinary treatment or anything. They just did their thing. Some of them were friendly. Some of them were standoffish. Some of them were like openly aggressive. So there was a myriad of different behaviors through the years, depending on how much they interacted with us when they were babies. But I digress. So I've contributed to the problem myself. So I'm not out here to be like, oh, all of you. No, us, all of us can do better. All of us can do better. Oh, did I not have any wrenches in here before? Oh my gosh. Have I been all... No, Dee's here. Dee has a wrench. Yeah, not only do Steph's here and Ring. Maybe they're still here. I don't know. We haven't talked for a while. But if they are, mwah, mwah. I thought Nikki had a wrench too, but maybe I was wrong. Nikki, do you want a wrench? I can give you a wrench. Anyhow, yeah, Kalasia has a wrench, but Kalasia's awesome. Of course they have a wrench. Okay, so as I was saying, I love cats. I love kitties. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. But they do have their issues. And it is the genetics of cats are amazing, and we've done amazing things with them. I recently did the video on the glow-in-the-dark cats. Everybody remembers that. If not, you can go back and check that out too. But today I want to talk about like hairless cats, right? And not the hairless cats you see today, because those aren't the original hairless cats. The original hairless cats are extinct. Bet you didn't know that, did ya? The original hairless cats don't exist anymore. We had to try to recreate them. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's a little news clipping from 1930. Where's the date? 1934. Yeah, March 14th, 1934. So right around this time of year. Mexican hairless cats, almost extinct animal. The Mexican hairless cat is well nigh extinct. It is thought to have been domesticated by the Indians of South and Central America before Columbus reached the Americas. Right. No, I don't believe that. But continuing on. As recently as 1900, according to a writer in the Cleveland Press, a pair was discovered in a pueblo in New Mexico. Old Jesuit father assured the finder that they were the last of the old Aztec breed. They were brother and sister, and the Chicago Cat Society valued them at $1,000 each. They were mouse-colored with neck and stomach and legs a delicate flesh tint. These cats were as affectionate and intelligent pets as could be desired. Mexican hairless cats, although furless in summer, develop in winter a slight growth of hair on the back and ridge of the tail, perhaps their peculiar expression. Big ears and thin little tail was against this breed in its bid for existence. Okay, so there's a few places that talk about this, but they all, like if you go to the Wikipedia article, right? Yeah, let's look real quick. Here's the Wikipedia article on this. The Mexican hairless cat, Aztec cat, or New Mexican hairless cat, was a purported breed of cat first documented in 1902 by Mr. E.J. Shinnick, who owned a pair of hairless cats. The cats were novelties at this time because of their lack of a coat. Although they grew light fur along their back and tail in the winter, these cats also had long whiskers and eyebrows because they had no coat. They lost more body heat than the coated cats. This made them warm to the touch as well as heat-seeking. They are well documented in media reports in the early 20th century, except for their totally made-up origin, maybe. So I think the origin is total BS. Well, let's go on, because you notice that this one says, one of my favorite lines here, citation needed. This is what you look for when you're reading a Wikipedia article. People who don't know how to use Wikipedia articles, this is the problem. This is the problem right here. They'll say, well, it says it right there. And you know, we know for a fact that this came from this. It came from this newsprint, right? That's the source for this. So we could actually cite that. I don't want to log into the account while I'm on here with you guys, though. But we could cite that source, the Nassau Reporter, as a source for that. We could go do that and provide a source. But this is still newspaper folklore, right? This is still 12-foot skeletons found in a Canyon temple. This is still freaking Native American war parties scalping people across the Great Prairie. This is glamorized media. This is fake news, as Donald Trump likes to call it, of the era, because there was no overhead on the origin story of this. They had the cats were real. The cats were real. These were real existing animals, right? Let's go on. Okay, we got some history here about what we just read. In 1902, a couple of from New Mexico received 2 hairless cats from a local Pueblo Indian, which is a lot less exotic than it made it sound earlier, where they insisted they were. What terminology did they use? An old Jesuit father was discovered in a Pueblo in New Mexico, and an old Jesuit father assured them they were the last of the Aztec breed. Sounds a lot less romanticized here. In 1902, the couple from New Mexico received a pair of hairless cats from a local Pueblo Indian. Not found in some Pueblo off in the desert somewhere, off in the high desert. Come on now. Found I hadn't gotten to that video yet, so get it pulled up for me to watch also. It might be on the cutting room floor still. I'll look for it before I close out. No, I'm gonna do it right now. Yeah, before I forget. Okay, yeah, it's still on the cutting room floor, so it'll be up soon. Actually, what I'll do is I'll schedule that for Monday. How's that sound? That way, it'll be the follow-up to this. So, the glow-in-the-dark cats will be part 2 to this, if that's what we're talking about. I think you're talking about the glow-in-the-dark cats. Okay, well, we'll do that. Okay, and where was I? We didn't get far into this because I have to go on an hour-long spiel about every sentence I read. There were purportedly. These were reportedly the last 2 survivors of an ancient Aztec breed of cats. There's a problem here, though, because Felis, as far as I know, Felis... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me see here. Felis. Are very distinctly Old World as a genus. Here. So, pulled up an image here so you guys can see. As a genus, this is where Felis naturally occurred, right? Before Europeans settled along these coasts in the Americas, Felis only existed in this region naturally. By that time, it had probably spread pretty well through. By the time they came to North America, anyway, it probably spread pretty well through most of Europe and Asia, but it had not migrated. They had not in any way made their way into the Americas. So, to be clear, there was no Felis, which is what these were. They were Felis in, where was I? In the Americas before first contact, right? You know, you want to talk about first contact, we could go into that, talk about, did they, maybe the Polynesians brought cats over from Indonesia or some nonsense like that. I don't want to hear that right now. That's not really a viable explanation for this. The more reasonable explanation is in the 1930s. A journalist writing for a newspaper wouldn't know that, and wouldn't know that you could disprove this with ecology. Almost 100 years later, 90 years later, so they weren't worried about it. This person's dead. They don't care that I debunked them. But this is prairie journalism, frontier journalism, something like that. There's a term for it. In 1902, yeah, we already got that. Okay, so they were purportedly the last survivors of an ancient Aztec breed. Okay, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There were cats in South America, and the Aztecs would have been very familiar with felids, but not Felis. Not at all. Because Felis didn't exist in the New World. So, and these cats, again, are Felis. Definitively so. The cats were littermates and noted to be 25% smaller than the local short-hair cats. So they were smaller. So there may have been some selective breeding in their past that was led to some dwarfism, which is, a common occurrence in cats. They were normally whiskered and seasonally coated, growing a ridge of fur down the middle of their back, their tail during the cold season. Yep, we talked about that. So that just all this links back to that news clip. But we're gonna get into some more details. These were not the first hairless cats exhibited, but became most famous. Earlier, that tells us about an earlier hairless cat named pair of hairless cats. So hairless cats were an exotic, a desired exotic, right? People wanted them. Rich people wanted them. Although novelties, they had ordinary backgrounds. Yeah, okay. In The Book of the Cat, 1903, Francis Simpson reproduced a letter written by Mr. E.J. Shinnick to Mr. H.C. Brooke regarding Mr. Shinnick's hairless cats. Mr. Brooke commented, "A most extraordinary variety of which next to nothing appears to be known is the hairless cat, and we cannot do better than quote in extenso the description given by the owner of what, if his surmise should be unhappily proved to be correct, were the last pair of these peculiar animals, a portrait of which we give. We can only add, with deeply regretting that Mr. Shinnick did not mate his cats, the earnest hope that we may hear that he has discovered the existence of other specimens." Okay, from the Book of Cats, public domain, yeah. Yeah, 1903, I imagine it's public domain. Here we go. This is folklore. An answer would say my hairless cats were brother and sister. I got them from the Indians a few miles from this place. The old Jesuit fathers tell me that they're the last of the Aztec breed, known only in New Mexico. I have found them the most intelligent and affectionate family pets I have ever met in the cat line. They are the quickest in action and smartest cats I've ever seen. They are fond of warm baths and love to sleep under the clothes at night with our little girl. They seem to understand nearly everything that is said to them, but I have never had time to train them. They are marked exactly alike, with mouse-colored backs, the neck, stomach, and legs in delicate flesh tint. Their bodies are always warm and soft as a child's. Weird. They love to be fondled and caressed and are very playful. Will run up and down your body and around your waist like a flash. Ouch, that sounds painful. They still got claws. Nellie weighed about 8 pounds and Dick weighed 10 pounds. I thought you said they were really small. That sounds about average for a cat. Doesn't sound small for a cat. What's the average weight for a cat? $8 to 11 pounds. They sound perfectly average, not 25% smaller. And this is based on modern statistics from PetMD. Yeah, big old fat cats can be, I mean, yeah, they can get up, 15, 20 pounds, but that's not exactly healthy for them. Okay, where was I? But I'm also sorry to say we have lost Dick. Yeah, I know a lot of girls who want to be able to say that themselves. So we have never allowed them to go out of the house, as the dog would be after them. They were very fond of our water spaniel and would sleep with her. Dick was a sly rascal and would steal out. One night last year, he stole out and the dog finished him. Oh, steal out, like bolt out the door. His loss was very great, as I may never replace him. The Chicago Cat Club valued them at $1,000 each. They were very anxious for me to come on with them for their local show, but I could not go. They were never exhibited, or they were never on exhibition, as this is a small city. I fear they would be stolen. I have made every endeavor to get another mate for Nellie, but have not been successful. I never allowed them to mate, as they were brother and sister, and I thought it might alter Nellie's beautiful form, which is round and handsome, with a body rather long. In winter, they have a light fur on their back ridge. Yeah, we already went over that. They stand the cold weather the same as other cats. They are not like the hairless dogs, whose hide is solid and tough. They are soft and delicate with very loose skin. So they sound a lot like Sphinx cats that we have today, right? They sound very similar, except for their distinct markings. Nellie has a very small head, large amber eyes, extra long mustache and eyebrows. Her voice now is a good baritone. When young, it was sounded exactly like a child's. They have great appetites. Yeah, it's funny that cats' meows registered the same as human babies. Anyway, they have great appetites and are quite dainty eaters. Fried chicken and good steak is their choice. Yeah, feeding them real meat. That's nice. Have never been sick an hour. The enclosed faded picture is the only one I have at present. It is very lifelike as it shows the wrinkles in the fine soft skin. Dick was a very powerful cat. Could whip any dog alone. Wasn't Dick killed? Didn't you just tell me Dick was killed by a dog? Is Dick a powerful badass or a sly little sneak that got snatched? No, his courage, no doubt, was the cause of his death. Maybe he thought he could whip any dog. That's probably it. He always was the boss over our dogs. I have priced Nellie at $300. She is too valuable for me to keep in a small town. Many wealthy ladies would value her at her weight in gold if they knew what a rare pet she is. I think it, in your position, should we be a very good investment to exhibit a cat at cat shows and other selective events, as she doubtless is the only hairless cat now known. I have written to Old Mexico and all over this country without finding another. I would like to have her in some large museum where she would interest and be appreciated by thousands of people. Oh. So to read that again. Okay. Reported to the press as Aztec cats. At the time, not a distinct pedigree. Cats were sometimes exhibited as curiosities or celebrities, and their stories were displayed on their cages. It's conceivable that the story of the nearly extinct Aztec breed was invented to make random bred hairless cats appear more exotic. That's what I'm thinking too. That's what I think too. T.J. Sheenek was about the last man to shake hands with the president. Sheenek gave him a little present for his sick boy Archie. It was a large photo of Aztec cats raised by Indians and the only two hairless cats known in captivity. Both the president and Secretary Loeb was greatly pleased with the picture. The male cat, Dick, died in 1902 or 1903. In 1908, the female Nellie died, according to the New York Times, on December 31st, 1908. Cats and chickens were rivals for our popular favor in Madison Square Garden yesterday, and the cat on this occasion of the formal opening of the Atlantic Cat Club's 7th annual championship show had a shade of advantage. The opening of the cat's part of the exhibit was attended by the announcement of the demise of the greatest feline curiosity of the show in transit from Albuquerque, New Mexico, to make her appearance as a metropolitan star. The deceased was the hairless cat which had aroused great interest among exhibitors as the Aztec cat. The animal was regarded as something more than a curiosity because of the antiquity attributed to its species. It was stated by Dr. Cecil French of the Atlantic Cat Club that with the consent of the owner, T.J. Sheenek, the hairless body would be presented to the Museum of Natural History here and may be offered in evidence that the cat had a part in Aztec as well as an Egyptian civilization. The Aztec cat's misfortune gave opportunity for understudies, however, and a tame lynx and a tame ocelot now are rivals for the quarters that the hairless cat will not occupy. According to the New York Tribune, also in 1931, also in 1908, Death 2 has invaded the exhibit for the Mexican hairless cat, has died. Okay, I want to find out if she's still around somewhere where we can see her. Okay. The Albuquerque Journal, 29th, 1928. It was reported that T.J. Shinnick of the city had received a letter from Washington yesterday saying that the hairless cat Nellie, which he sent to the National Cat Show, died of dropsy. Dropsy is an accumulation of water in the soft tissue, which can be due to heart failure, or in cats, feline infectious peritonitis. After that time, other randomly occurring hairless cats, also called New Mexican hairless cats or Aztec cats, the term became generic instead of referring to the cat's location. Charles Henry Lane reported in his book Rabbits, Cats, and Cavies, and we did cover that when we talked about the Kellis cat. That was on CryptoCorner. This was the only specimen Mr. Lane had seen, and he believed it to be the only ever exhibited in England. It's a Jesuit. A portrait of the cat was included in his book. The Jesuit could only have been another random mutation because Nellie was too valuable to leave in the USA. Or too valuable to leave the USA. The San Francisco Chronicle on the 11th of May 1919 reported Dr. Cecil French of Washington owned perhaps the strangest pet, a hairless Aztec cat. On account of the great difference in climate condition between Mexico and Washington and Mexico, the home of his feline curiosity, Dr. French housed Moco as his Aztec pet was known, in a glass case, which with regulated temperature. It doesn't give the date when Dr. French owned the hairless cat, but 1919 is the decade after Nellie's death. Interest in the hairless cat of New Mexico was revived by Mr. H.C. Brooks in 1926. His queries were printed in the Albuquerque Journal of the 12th of January 1926 and the El Paso Herald in Texas on 15th of March 1926. He was extremely anxious to obtain specimens. Mr. Brooks' letter read that they were obtained from some Indians and that the Jesuit fathers thought they were the last survivors of the ancient Aztec breed. Most, unfortunately, Mr. Shinnick didn't made us. Well, yeah, we keep repeating that, but they're not. No, there's no ancient Aztec breed. That's not a thing. Mr. Shinnick's daughter, Mrs. Michael Palladino, replied in a letter to the Albuquerque Journal on the 14th of January 1926. According to Mrs. Palladino, her father had two of the hairless cats, a male and a female. He intended to mate them, but the male was stolen. The female was kept until she was about 13 years old and then sent to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington. She died soon after arriving in Washington, and Mrs. Palladino said the body was mounted for display in the museum. Mrs. Palladino believed that was in December of 1909. She did not know where her father obtained the cats. The Mountain Butte Standard, 26th of December 1937, reported Mexican hairless cats are supposedly extinct. A specimen owned in New Mexico, says Mr. Crawford, and there may be others, but his claims are not substantiated. On the 20th of March 1956, the Albuquerque Journal printed another request for information. John White, head of the Department of Information of the State Extension Services and Experimental Station in New Mexico A&M College, has a letter from an El Pasoan who wants information on what is called the Mexican, or sometimes the New Mexican hairless cat. White is stumped. So are the others in the department. The El Paso man first wrote to Mexico City College, Mexico City, for information. The college apparently told him the animal was mouse colored and the underparts were pinkish. The animal also had ridges of fur along its back and upper surface of the tail. Mexico City College advised the El Pasoan to write to New Mexico A&M. Many know of the Mexican hairless dog, but, says White, if anyone has seen a New Mexico hairless cat or know there is such an animal, he'd like to hear about it. Now, Mrs. Palladino replied to the Albuquerque Journal on the 3rd of April 1956 that her father, the late Thomas J. Shinnick, had given her 2 hairless Mexican cats as pets. The year was about 1894. She called them Dick and Nellie. She played with them for years. One morning, Dick didn't come home, and the family told her that the milkman had stolen him. When Nellie was about 15 years old, her father decided that because the hairless cats were so rare, the Smithsonian Institute might be interested. Officials of the institution asked to see Nellie while she was alive. Mrs. Palladino said Nellie had arrived in Washington in good condition, but died a month later, after which she was exhibited as a taxidermied specimen. This indicates the Mexican hairless cat or Aztec breed were a pair of hairless siblings given a fictionalized account of their origins in the romantic suggestion that they were the last of their breed. The term Mexican hairless cats became a generic term for any hairless cat until 1931, when hairless kittens were born to ordinary furred cats in France and were exhibited by Professor E. Letard. So this was like what they thought all hairless cats were up until this point. They thought they were all representative of this lost lineage, right? That they were a rare breed. It was done to pump up the numbers. But the references are mostly to all these newspapers, right? The only links really that actually have a link and not just to a news clipping, go to Messy Beast, which we know Messy Beast. Messy Beast is where we learned all about the weird suggestions about unfathomable hybrids, right? And they have a whole article about it. About just different hairless cat breeds in general. But here's they had good pictures of them though. Here's the Dick and Nellie. That's the picture of them. That's Jesuit. That's the one that was allegedly around about a decade later. But yeah. So Messy Beast is not a good source, because Messy Beast has a lot of bad information or weird information. I mean, there's some cool stuff too. I used to spend a lot of time in this site, but the more I looked into it, the less realistic it becomes. So they got a section called Hybrid and Mutant Animals. rare and extinct and all that. You can go here and see about, like, most of the stuff's gonna be okay. You know, it's just gonna talk about historical animals that lived and existed, but don't anymore. But then you get into mutant animals and stuff, and they start talking about some bizarre hybrids between creatures that you really don't think could hybridize in any feasible manner. But they make the claim, like, we got mustelid hybrids down here. I think they had some really weird bovid hybrids at one point. Of course, equine and impossible hybrids they have on here as well. All right, so yeah, Aztec cats, not real thing. Just someone bred the cats and got the hairless genes, right? We're like, we got to give these guys a backstory and make some money off them, and not let people know that they can just do this genetically, because they could have started a whole breeding program with just regular cats, just using the right genetic. Obviously, not inbreeding them, but not inbreeding them directly, anyhow. But yeah, all right. So that was Bree's Bestiary. Now, I'm not going to have time to do one more segment because I'm already 16 minutes past, and my ride should be here any minute to go to the murder mystery thing. He hasn't messaged me back, but that should be a thing that happens. So I'm going to wrap up the show here. It's a little bit early, 15 minutes earlier than I usually do, but yeah, I do want to do some touch-ups to my makeup and my outfit and stuff, so yeah. Okay, let me go back through and read the comments, and that should take up probably the rest of the show here. Cats are supreme beings. That's possible. Thanks, everyone. 4 subs away from 250. Woot woot. Much appreciated, everyone. Yeah, thanks for giving Dave some love. I'm not a pet guy. If I am chased by a mummy, maybe I'll be a cat. Gotta run. Love ya. Have a good one, D. Yeah, a 20-pounder isn't gonna clear the baby gate like our cat does in a single bound. Yeah, they can't get big and be lovable and still, but they're fat and overweight, and they need to be healthier than that. I currently have 2 cats that come around daily for food and pets. There's 2 more that come around every few days. I still miss my little Starfire, though. She died in 2002. Sorry to hear that. You got a new PFP for the debate tonight. Gotta love The Simpsons. Well, one isn't fat yet, but he's yeah, and you know, when you fix a cat, they're gonna get fat. I'd say that the average weight for a cat that's been fixed is probably higher. I don't know, want to speculate. Probably, I know that they probably average around 13 pounds at least when you fix a male cat, at least. Howling for Fancy Feast day and night. We are having the visiting vet stop by Tuesday for our cats. Mrs. Desk was concerned taking her to the vet would freak her old self out too much. My budget won't allow me to feed Fancy Feast to my cats. Usually I give the chicken bones from what I've cooked for my meal if I have any. Growing up, we had one cat that lived to nearly 20 years old. That's cool. Our cat is just 13 or 14 now. My sister-in-law just lost hers at 18. The ones that come to me daily are less than 1 year old. They're almost full size now. The others are from 3 to 5 years old. My old lady kitty is around 14. We had a feral breed around here back in the day. We called her Mama Cat. She is gone now. Ours is one of her survivors. Okay. Neat. All right. So, guess without further ado, please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.